Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings. Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight. The National Report. It's always good to see you. Topping national news this Tuesday, Parliament has approved extending the emergency powers COVID-19 orders to the end of November. Debate and passing of this resolution took place in the Senate today. Senators conducted a division vote, which means each senator's vote is counted and registered individually on a division sheet with yay, nay, abstain, and absent. 5 government senators voted yay, 3 opposition senators voted nay, and 7 senators were absent. F&M Senator and Acting Minister of State for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dwight Sawyer, led the Senate debate this morning and pointed out that the upper chamber is now being called to do its part as the country faces trying times and as countries around the world are being forced to impose stricter measures to contain the COVID-19 virus. Sawyer, who also acknowledged the efforts of healthcare workers on the front lines, says the extension of the orders are necessary amidst a rising number of COVID-19 infections.
The virus continues to rage. The emergency situation remains. Matters have become precarious because even while the virus rages, we are compelled by economic necessity to take steps to open the economy once again. To do this successfully, we will have to find the right balance between health and safety and a return to economic normality. We must open because our hotel workers are unemployed. Our taxi and jitney drivers are unemployed. Our store clerks are unemployed. This is simply too much economic pain and suffering to bear. Madam President, as we open the economy, it is even more necessary to maintain emergency powers orders and regulations to enable the right balance to be maintained so that the opening of the economy can be safely managed.
Senator Sawyer says while some have criticized the competent authority is operating as a dictatorship, he maintains that's far from the truth.
Today, we are engaged in precisely the kind of direct political oversight which is contemplated and mandated by our Constitution. The opposition are free to speak, to make their case, and to advance their own counter-proposals and suggestions. And I want to emphasize, the competent authority is not a one-man ruler. I will repeat that. The competent authority is not a one-man ruler. He is advised by the medical community.
Senator Lisa Bostwick-Dean seconded the resolution, stating that it's beyond question that emergency orders are extended. She says the Bahamas and the global community are in a state of emergency due to the pandemic, and the Bahamas began its second wave before other countries.
Sadly, the world, if you watch the news, are in the throes of this disease. And unfortunately for the world, and particularly for the Bahamas, as we rely upon tourism, the forecasts are grim for the fall and winter. While our numbers have spiked, we are seeking to manage those numbers. And it is imperative that the government has the ability to react to how the virus is spreading in the community and in the country. We already have the experience where the virus is spreading at a rate where we have been advised that the hospital beds are full or are almost full. We do not want, as a country, to be in the position where we see our citizens lined up on streets seeking medical care and unable to receive the same as they lie gasping on the street and in some instances dying. We have seen those images in developed first world nations, and we must do all that we can with our comparatively limited resources and facilities to ensure that it does not happen here.
Progressive Liberal Party Senator, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, led debate on the resolution for the opposition, noting that the opposition does not support the extension of the emergency powers COVID-19 orders.
With the passing of the last emergency order, many Bahamians remain cautiously optimistic, believing that the Ministry of Health had an evidence-based plan to reduce the community spread of COVID-19, particularly in New Providence. We were told by representatives of the Ministry of Health that COVID-19 Task Force and the Ministry of Health had adequate funding and the manpower resources were in place to effectively reduce the transmission of COVID-19, and the lockdowns would help to flatten the curve as long as the public health care measures could be enforced by the relevant authorities. Unfortunately, months after curfew, lockdowns, the person-to-person transmission of COVID-19 appear to be increasing at an exponential rate.
A vote of division was also conducted in the House of Assembly yesterday evening to pass a resolution to extend the emergency powers COVID-19 orders to November 30th. 14 House members voted yea and 24 were absent. No House member voted nay or abstained. Several House members shared their views on the extension during yesterday afternoon's session.
If we have these numbers when we enforce curfews and lockdowns, can you imagine what we will have without them? We don't look at the possibility of how horrific this may be if we didn't enact the measures that we are taking right now.
As we learn to live with this virus, are the emergency orders necessary? In listening to the presentations, one would get the impression that if these orders do not continue, it means that the curfews, it means that the lockdowns will not continue also. That's not true. We want our lives back, but under the current circumstances, that is extremely difficult or impossible. And the things that we do are not different from what they're being done around the world.